Hello my lovelies and welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya and in today's video we are going to be picking my winter TBR. And as you can tell from the title, we are going to be once again using my TBR jar. If you remember me picking my fall TBR, I also used the jar for that as well. And when I did that, I loved it so much for many reasons. One of them being is that I thought it was so fun to do. I liked the thought of not knowing what I was going to get and just knowing that the books I was going to read were kind of randomly picked in a way. And on top of that, I feel that the books that I picked for my fall TBR were books that have just been sitting on my shelf for so long, but I just never picked up. And then when I did pick them up, because I pulled them from the jar and like I had to read them, they were so good. So those were just books that were sitting on my shelf that I just never got around to, and I loved them so much. So I thought I just have to do it for my winter TBR as well. Of course, I made myself a little drink. I feel like I've said this before, I always need a drink with me when I'm doing like sit down talking videos. Once again, we are starting out kind of a little bit late, but then I always think it's better to do it late than not do it at all, because it is a couple days away from Christmas. And I had said in my fall reading wrap up that I wanted to do like a seasonal reading instead of like a monthly reading, so it can be a little bit easier for me. It's the middle of December, so therefore I'm kind of cutting a little bit into winter, but I still have the rest of December, January, and February to get through all these books. So therefore I still feel that I have a lot of time to get through the books, instead of when it was fall I had a lot less time. And if you watch my fall reading wrap up, I did get through every book except for one, so I think that's pretty good. But yes, it's almost Christmas and I'm so excited. Right now I am reading a Christmas book right now, so it's just getting me into the feeling of it being Christmas, and I just love it so much. So that Christmas book will obviously be part of my winter reading wrap up. But anyway, let's start getting into picking the books. Like last time when I picked for my fall TBR, I had some books in my head that I really hoped I picked that I wanted to read during that time, or just in general. And then of course I still have some books that I hope I do not pick, or that I know I will not be reading it if I pick it. Because also like last time, I'm going to be picking about maybe 10 to 12 books, and then I'm going to pick, let's pick 6 books. I'll pick 6 books for winter. So yes, I'm going to be picking 6 books from a variety of books. I won't tell you guys which books I'm hoping I pick. Unless I do pick them, then I'll tell you like I was hoping to pick that book. But I still will tell you which books I do not want to pick, because last time I was just picking so many books that I did not want to read. Once again, the books that I hope I do not pick, and if I do I will not be reading, is the Fourth Wing books. That's just a huge commitment. The books are huge. And then A Little Life. I do not want to read that right now. And then obviously I have a few books in mind that are probably like definitely don't feel like winter. Okay, but finally let's start pulling the books. I'm already kind of nervous. Once again, I'm going to try to not cut anything, so you obviously know that I'm not cheating in any way. Okay. First book is The Throne of the Fallen. Oh, okay. For a second, I was like, what book is that? This is the continuation book. So this author named Carrie Maniscalco has these books called The Kingdom of the Wicked, and it's like a 3-book trilogy, and I did read that series. I loved that series. And in that book series, the book is about Wrath, who's like one of the brothers of sin. You know how there's 7 sins, and he is a brother of sin. And the author is going to start making books of every single other brother. And I believe this book is about Envy, who is a villain in the book that I actually did like in some way. I can actually get behind reading this. I think it would be a really good book to read during the winter. But yay, we have our first book picked for my possible winter TBR. Why was that so hard to say? Okay, book number 2 is Twisted Love Books. I don't really know much about these books, but they're my sister's books and she really wanted me to read them. They're also romances, so I feel that I would like them regardless. But like I said, I genuinely don't really know anything about these books, so there's not really much I can say about them. This is the second possible book. Number 3 is Wild and Wrangled. Oh, this is part of those like cowboy books by Lila Sage. I've never read any of them. And I know Wild and Wrangled is like a book that's very later on part of the book series in a sense, because I think it's more of the newer one. So I haven't read any of them though. I would be starting out on a late couple, but I was gifted this from a friend and the cover looks good. I've heard good things about this series, but once again, I don't know anything about this series besides that it's like Western and cowboy-esque. Number 4 is yes, okay. This was like my top 2 of books that I really wanted. It's The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I want to read this book so bad, and I was like, this would be perfect for winter, and I just picked it. Yes, I'm so happy. Because the books I was getting already, I'm kind of like, those were not books that I technically wanted to read. I'm happy I picked them, but this right here was like my favorite book that I really was hoping I picked. Thank you. I'm so happy that I picked this. And that I was able to tell you guys there's one more book that I'm hoping I pick, but this was probably like my top 2. That's number 4. Number 5 is If I Stay Books. I love this movie, so I'm thinking, and the book definitely takes place in the winter, and I've always wanted to read them, and they've been on my shelf for years, so I could possibly pick this. I think this book would be nice to read. Number 6 is The Truth About Forever. I love Sarah Dessen. This is a Sarah Dessen book. I will always want to read a Sarah Dessen book. This is definitely one of her most popular books, but surprisingly, I've never read it. I also thrifted this book from Goodwill a little while ago. I got this one in another Sarah Dessen book because I'm on a mission to just collect as many of her books as I can, because I just love her as an author, and for some reason, her books are always in Goodwills. It would be fun to read this because I love reading Sarah Dessen books that I haven't read yet. Hello. So this is probably a bit of a jump scare. It is a lot later in the day. Randomly, I had to run and do something, which I kind of tried to get out of, but it was kind of out of my hands. So I had to run and do that errand, and now it's a little bit later, and it's not like I can just start the video over because I did pull those books. So we're just going to start from where I left off. And now I'm kind of freezing right now in here because I've been leaving the door open to film, and I just changed my top. Just a lot going on right now. Let's get back into picking the rest of my winter TBR, just to jog your memory, and in no particular order because I don't remember or what was picked first. But the books that I already pulled were The Truth About Forever, If I Stay Books, The Throne of the Fallen, The Twisted Love books, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and Wild and Wrangled. And that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. So if I recall, I said I was going to pick 12 books and then pick 6 books from those 12, which means I have to pull 6 more books from the jar. But let's just pick up where we left off. Book number 7 is, accidentally pulled 2. Let's pick this one. Okay. Dreamland by Sarah Dessen. Another Sarah Dessen book. I literally mentioned this one when I pulled the last Sarah Dessen book because I bought these together at the same time at the same Goodwill. That's kind of crazy. I guess I'm excited to read this one. This is a book by her that I don't even remember hearing about. Like The Truth About Forever, I remember that book very well, even though I've never read it. I just remember the cover and like somewhat what the story was about. But Dreamland, I have no idea what this is about. Never seen it, never seen the cover, never heard of it. If it's by Sarah Dessen, then I'm pretty sure I will like it. Book number 7. Now I wonder what that other one was that I decided to put back. Kind of funny. It's like you never know what you're gonna pull, but I'm curious. Book number 8 is Me Before You. I love this movie. I love it to bits. It's one of my favorite movies, but it is very depressing, and I don't know if I'm in the mood to read that right now. It may be picked. If you don't know, which I feel like a lot of people know this movie, it's about Will Traynor who was paralyzed, put in a wheelchair, and then he gets this helper, or like this maid in a sense. Will Traynor is played by Sam Claflin, which is someone else I love as an actor, and then the woman or the love interest in the book is Emilia Clarke, I believe. Yeah, very somewhat depressing book, even though it's kind of like a romance in a sense. But I feel like I'm picking a lot of books that I honestly, like, I'm not too excited to read, but I feel like that's kind of the point of the video because it's giving me books that I wouldn't normally have the urge to pick up, but I may pick it up and then I may love it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're picking 4 more books. I've literally only picked one book that I'm really excited to read. Maybe two, but mainly one that was like really on my radar, which you guys already know which book that is. Let's shake it good so I get some books that I'm actually excited to pick. Number 9 is the Poppy War books. That's so funny because my sister literally just finished the second book, I think the night before last night, and she loves the series. That's just crazy. She was just reading the second book of this and now I just pulled it. I guess I'm excited to read that. She says it's really good and there's a lot of stuff that happens in it, a lot of crazy stuff, because she's always screaming about how the book is going and what's happening to the character. So I would be down to read that, although I have no idea what this book is about. Wow, I'm just picking a lot of books that, I don't know, I feel like this isn't really a good pull for me. But then again, I feel that maybe someone who's read all these books, or most of them, are probably thinking those are good books to pull. So maybe that's just my opinion. Okay, number 10. Number 10 is The You I've Never Known. That is a Ellen Hopkins book that I've never read. I've read a lot of Ellen Hopkins. If you've watched my Roman Empire video, you would know that Ellen Hopkins is one of my favorite authors. I love her books. I have so many of them. I got this one as a gift. I have no idea what it's about, but it's been sitting on my shelf for a very long time. We're picking 2 more, and I feel that the pulls I'm getting are not my favorite. So let's just pull the last 2. Number 11 is wait, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. That is a crazy coincidence. If you watched my last fall pulling TBR video, I was getting some crazy picks because I pulled like the number 1 book I did not want to pull, and I was like pulling some very coincidental books, and I just pulled my second book that I really wanted to read. Oh, thank you. The book is My Dark Vanessa. I have been wanting to read this book for a while. I bought it a little while ago, but it's been sitting on my shelf, and I just heard it's a very deep book that you gotta go all in when you're reading it. And I was like, I feel like that would be good for the winter, because I feel like the vibe just gives winter and like a dark, cold reading book. That's freaking crazy. Honestly, at first I'm like, there's no way I just pulled this, but the way I was pulling books last time and the way things were just like lining up, it was kind of crazy. I feel like I'm over exaggerating, but you don't understand. The pull I was getting was like not something I was excited for. And then I also pulled the other book that was part of the top 2. So The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue and My Dark Vanessa were my top 2 books that I wanted to read for the winter. And I just pulled them, and that's just crazy. I'm shut up. I'm mind blown. We're pulling 1 more now, but honestly, I'm just happy. I feel like now I have at least 3 books that I'm very excited to read for the winter. And the last and final 12th book we're going to be pulling for my possible winter TBR is One Day. I didn't want to read this either. Depressing. It's literally the same thing as Me Before You, if you've seen both. It's so crazy that I pulled that after coming off a very huge high of pulling My Dark Vanessa. One Day is about Dexter and Emma, I believe. I really hope I'm saying her name right. It's crazy that I don't remember her name, because I liked the movie and then I loved the TV show. The TV show had me, it left an imprint on me, let's just say that. The book starts off when they graduate college, and then it just follows their life as they get older and stay friends, and they like meet up on this very specific day every year, and they just talk about their life and how they're evolving as people. But that is a book I don't really want to read because I just don't want to. But okay, that is all the books I'm going to be actually picking from the jar. And now I just need to pick from the 12 which books I want to read. I explained in my fall TBR video that I did it this way, where I pick a bunch of different books and then pick 6 books or like a smaller amount of books from those big variety of books, because I wanted to have more of a choice and more variety in what I pick. And I think the choice of doing that has never been more important than right now, because Thank God I have a choice in a lot of the books that I picked. Just to refresh your memory, I picked the If I Stay books, The Throne of the Fallen, Twisted Love books, The Truth About Forever, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Wild and Wrinkled, Dreamland by Sarah Dessen, Me Before You, The Poppy War books, The You I've Never Known, My Dark Vanessa, and One Day. But okay, I'm going to be picking 6 books, and automatically you already know the first book I'm going to pick is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I am so excited to read this. Next up, obviously, My Dark Vanessa. The third one, which is also not a hard choice, I'm going to pick The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. I get to pick 3 more books, and now is like the time where I genuinely don't know what I want to read or what I have the urge to read. Honestly, I think I'm going to pick the If I Stay books because there's a video that I possibly want to make reading this book. I'm not going to say too much about that, but stay tuned for this. I'm going to pick the If I Stay books because I already know what video I would want to do with that one. I was already thinking about it ahead of time, and the fact that I just picked it out of the jar just means that here's my chance to do that video because now I have to read it anyway. Okay, now I'm picking 2 more books. I think I'm going to pick The You I've Never Known by Ellen Hopkins just because this is a book that has genuinely been sitting on my shelf for years, and me pulling it, I'm gonna take that as a sign that I should read it. And I've never read a book by Ellen Hopkins that I didn't like. Taking this as a sign, I'm going to read it this winter, and I'm gonna add to the pile. 1 more book to pick. Well, let's eliminate the books that I for sure am like not going to pick, and that is Me Before You, One Day. I don't want to read the Twisted Love books right now either. Dreamland, no, because I already picked a Sarah Dessen book. So that leaves Throne of the Fallen, Wild and Wrinkled, and The Poppy War. Let's take into account if I have any romances, because I always like to add a romance in there somewhere. I think The Truth About Forever is kind of a romance. A lot of Sarah Dessen books are like teen romance with a little bit of other stuff thrown in there. If I Stay is kind of a romance, but this book is like romance mixed with depression in some way that you've never known. I have no idea. And Ellen Hopkins doesn't really write a lot of romance, if I'm being honest. So for sure, I'm going to get rid of The Poppy War then. And now we just have Throne of the Fallen and Wild and Wrinkled, which are both romances. Well, okay. Here's my logic. All the books that I already picked are books that have no magic in them whatsoever, and they're all like real people, real world books. And let's just add a fantasy, romantic-y, world-building book in there. So I'm going to pick The Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. And so that officially concludes me picking my winter TBR, which I actually am excited for now that I've picked them. For a second there, I was starting out a little bit not feeling it, but the books I did pick, watch me love every single one. So, you know that scenario how you're always skipping like one specific song on like this playlist or like any of your playlists, and then you finally listen to it and you freaking love that song? That's what my fall TBR books that I picked gave. Because I ended up loving a lot of those books that were just sitting on my shelf. So you know what? Let me not complain too much, because watch me love all of these books, because most of them, except for 2, obviously the ones that I really wanted to read, were books that I wanted to pick or that just weren't on my radar, that I didn't have the urge to read. They're going to surprise me. I already know they are. I just added all the books that I did not pick back into the jar. But let's officially go and pick the books off my bookshelf. My Dark Vanessa. The Truth About Forever. Oh, they're right next to each other. The You Have Never Known. The Invisible Life. If I Stay. I think Throne of the Fallen is up in the front, but I'll go grab that right now. I'm going to show you all the covers of each book. We have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. Schwab. I love how simple but eye-catching this cover is. I'm so excited to read this one. Honestly, picking this was kind of like the universe on my side, if I'm being honest. Then we have My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. Another cover that's very eye-catching to me. I've just heard so many things about this book. I've heard good and bad. Well, not bad, but more that it's very dark. Well, in a sense, another book with the universe on my side after that pulling I was getting. The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. Very iconic cover, at least to me. I always remember this cover being in like my library growing up as a kid at my schools. And then also Sarah Dessen was so popular back then, and this is a book that always like caught my eye when it came to her books. And once again, I'm shocked that I've never read it before, and I am really excited to read another one of her books for the first time. Then we have The You I've Never Known by Ellen Hopkins. This cover is so cool. It's like this girl's face, but then it has like this like effect over over it. Oh, she has so many of her books in the back. I think I have 6 of her books. That's crazy. Wait, I'm reading the book I have in my hand, so that makes 7 of her books then. And I've read maybe mostly all of those except for 2 of the books that I have by her. Once again, I have no idea what this book is about, so I'm kind of going in blind. Guys, this is a sign. Why is a girl in the book named Maya? And it's spelled the same way as my name. I hope you can see that. There it is. M-A-Y-A. That's crazy. And I was just saying how it was probably a sign for me to read this because I picked it from the jar and it's been sitting on my shelf forever. Wow. Things are just lining up. Things are aligning. Things are very coincidental, if you ask me. So maybe it was a great thing that I picked this, and I'm not joking. I had no idea that the girl's name on the back was Maya. Then Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. This cover is so beautiful. And then the edges of the pages are purple. It's just such a beautiful book. I also really loved the trilogy book that's connected to this book, and I feel that I know I will like it. I also know that this one is actually like an adult book, or it's like adult fiction in a sense, which means probably a little bit more spicier because the other 3 books that are in connecting to this series that I keep mentioning were like YA books. So I am excited for that. And yes, this book is about Prince Envy, and I really did like Envy as a villain, so excited to read this. And then lastly, we have If I Stay by Gail Foreman. This book is a book, once again, that I got years ago. I think as like a teen. Whenever this book was like popular, that's when I got it. I'm most likely getting my years and age mixed up. This was a movie that I love so much, so I feel that this book will be very sentimental and iconic to me in a sense. It's so old though. Oh, look at the font. It's literally huge. I feel like this will take me no time to read it all. When I put the paper into the jar, I did write If I Stay books as in plural because there are 2 books with this duology. Is that the right word? But I don't know if I'm going to read both books. If I think I have time, I will read it because on top of that, I've always wondered what happens after the first movie because I've only ever seen the movie. I've never read the book, and I've just always wondered what happened after the first movie. So maybe I will read the second book, which is called Where She Went. But if I don't get around to reading it, I will separate Where She Went, put it on a piece of paper, and then put it back into the jar. But honestly, I feel this is a really good pick of books, and I'm actually more excited to read them now that I'm looking at it, and I'm really excited. I know I was talking so much crap earlier, but then again, thank God I was able to pick the 6 books from that 12 because the other books, honestly, I didn't really want to read. That's all that matters. If you've ever read any of these books, please let me know. Please comment and tell me what you thought about them. Of course, without spoiling anything. I feel like I have a lot more time than I did for the fall to read these books because I'm starting a little bit earlier, even though I'm still starting a little bit late. It's earlier than when I did in the fall. And I think I can do it because, once again, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, let's go. I can do this. I want to read them. But that is going to be the end of today's video. Thank you so much for sticking around, especially if you're still watching right now. Once again, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I loved making it. And if you're still here, then I love you, love you, love you. Thank you for being here so much. All of my socials are linked down below in the description box. Like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Stay tuned for some more. Bye.